Welcome to Yin Yoga. I'm Christy. Let's take a breath. Today's focus is inner wisdom, which I think is, a lot of what yoga helps us uncover is our own wisdom. When we're in difficult positions, when we're struggling to make decisions, we've got a big decision to make. Something's not working well. There's so many times when we get very analytical and make ourselves even more stressed out trying to make a decision about something. And I think when we're able to get quiet, so I know when I've had big decisions to make, it's best when I have time and I can, gather all the information and let that kind of filter through my brain and have the answer somewhat appear. Or sometimes we're under time pressure and we have to make a quick decision, and that's really hard. So today we're just going to work on this concept of inner wisdom. So if there's something in particular that you're struggling with in the moment, trying to make a decision about, what's the best thing to do in this situation, we're going to try to just slow everything down and not be in our analytical minds. This is one of the ways I think meditation can be helpful, is that when we're in a really quiet place, I think answers can begin to appear a little more effortlessly. So my thought is that physically, while I hold tension in every part of my body, like my neck and my shoulders often have a lot of tension, what I find is that hips are often where I feel the biggest energetic shift. When I can release that tension out of my hips, I feel like my whole inner being transforms. So that's just my thought for the day. And so we're going to work on opening up the hips, releasing tension out of the hip flexors. So let's see, I think one of the nicer, I know I've started in half frog probably many times. I think it's a really nice way to begin a yin practice, is being on the abdomen. And not that half frog is easy for everyone. I know for me it used to be quite uncomfortable. So if any of these holds are too long, let yourself come out. Fast forward the video. But if you can tolerate half frog, I think it's a nice place to begin. This being on the belly, being on the floor, sort of connected with the ground, I find very calming and soothing. So again, I think when we get our nervous systems calm, then the wisdom flows a little more easily. I like when I work things out in my dreams, right, or in my sleep. A lot of times I have uncovered solutions to things in my sleep. All right, so we're gonna come on to the belly. Let's take a breath here. Let's just do a little Sphinx pose, resting on the lower arms. Let your lower body relax. All right, and then we're gonna come into that half frog. So bring your right knee up to about hip height. If you feel like you need to rearrange your leg, sometimes I like to straighten the leg and kind of use my foot to pull the leg out a little farther. And then you're bending the knee again. So you can choose if you want to stay on your lower arms, which I usually do for part of the time, but not necessarily the whole time. And then we're going to breathe out. Beginning to notice how you're feeling. So how does this pose feel? And just what's your energy like today? How are you as a whole? And maybe ask yourself what you need in this moment. So again, if there's some big thing that you're working on, some big decision making, what do you need to come to the correct decision for you? So whatever that may be for you, what's the right decision for you? What do you need to come to that solution? So we're just looking for what answers show up. So again, trying not to get so into our analytical minds about, oh, what do I need? What do I need? But just, is there something that just presents itself in that moment? Sometimes, yeah, sometimes for me, things like do come and sometimes they don't. So gently straighten out this right leg. And we're going to slide it right into the left leg. So again, if you need to straighten that leg out, move it around a little bit and then bend your knee. And then work on letting go into the floor. Feeling the support of the floor. So working on just letting go here as much as you can. Feeling your breath. Maybe counting the breath if that's helpful. And straighten out that left leg. And let's try to pass through a little cobra. So start with your head, your forehead down. Hands below your shoulders. So we're lifting our shoulders up towards the ceiling, the head's a little bit down. And then you can press into your hands and let your head come up. Put your elbows in and down. And then we're going to come up. And I'm going to shift my air conditioning's not working well today, so I'm going to turn my fan a little bit here. All right, I'm going to do like a little bit of if you can get into a down dog here, you could do a downward facing dog. Since I'm on my blanket, I don't really love down dog that way because I feel like I'm going to slide. So if you want to do a standing forward fold, we're going to try to stretch out the legs and the back. So either a down dog or a standing forward fold. And forward fold, your feet can be as close or as wide as feels appropriate here. And then maybe if you can hold elbows if you're in a forward fold. So I'm bending my knees a little bit because my legs are tight. Oh, and so is my back. Whew. All right. And then we're going to take it into a child's pose. So child's pose again can be a really challenging pose. So even though all these things can look like they're simple, it can be a very hard pose. So if you're really struggling, skip it, fast forward, or again, maybe you're going to come out and go back in, right? So you can always shift it. You can push back into a down dog for a few breaths or a standing forward fold like we just did and come back down. So the other thing to adjust with child's pose is, if you're able to, knees can be quite close together. So what that does is it puts a lot of pressure on the front of the body, which can make it more difficult to breathe. If you can get into there comfortably, it's kind of nice because you can feel your back stretching. It's going to push the lungs into the back ribs, so to speak. So you can take your knees out wider if you're finding it uncomfortable. You can have your hips up a little bit higher. And my head doesn't always come down to the floor comfortably. So you might do arms underneath your forehead. If you have a block or a pillow, you can also bring your forehead down. And it's all about comfort level, right? So there's no right or wrong to it, but if you feel like you're hurting yourself, then you want to change it. So there is a wrong. If you're hurting yourself, there is a wrong. All right, here we go. So come on in, find your spot. So again, I might do this with so there's some space between my knees. I might take them a little bit wider in a minute. Yeah, and so if it's just your shoulders that are uncomfortable, having arms alongside your legs sometimes is a little nicer for shoulders. come on up. So anywhere you want to go, I'm feeling like I want to come into a seated position and just do a little cobbler's pose. So if this is feeling right for you in this moment, come to seated, bring your feet together. Massage my feet a little bit when I'm in a cobbler's pose. All right, let's shift to the back. Straighten out our legs. We're gonna come onto our backs. I'm often a bit undecided about whether or not to do a reclining pigeon before a reclining deer, or to do a reclining deer and then pigeon. Let's see. So how does this feel today? Yeah, let's just do a reclining deer first. That's what my body has to say today. All right, so we're gonna start with our feet wide. We're gonna lean the legs to the left so that we're working on the right leg first. So let your legs drop over to the left. So we're looking for this inner leg, this right inner leg to face the floor. So it's probably not gonna come down all the way to the floor. We're trying to get a stretch through the quads and into the hip. If you can get this foot a little farther, you can pull it a little closer to your hip. Right leg can kind of go anywhere. If it's too intense, left leg can go anywhere. Bring your right knee towards your left knee. If it's too much, if you need to decrease the tension there. All right, and so then we're gonna breathe. So I find this one really helpful for letting some tension out of the hips, which then in turn is also helpful for the back. We're gonna breathe. So we're working on just this letting go, just this unwinding, sinking down into the floor. Maybe visualize yourself in a really beautiful place. face this side. So you can bring this right leg a little closer to your left. Ooh. And let it lengthen out. Maybe pull your toes in towards your knee, pushing your heel out. And then we can do both legs straight, arms overhead. Maybe even reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Move your wrists around a little bit. Move your feet a little bit. And then you can try bringing your feet onto the floor, letting your low back drop down into the floor. So flattening out the back. And then we can bring knees in towards the chest, get a little deeper stretch in the low back. And then we're going to take it to the other side. So feet down on the floor, a little space between your feet. Let your knees, your legs drop over to the right side. So now we're going to focus on the left leg. So just trying to find where that left leg wants to go. And trying to breathe. Okay. So we're gonna release this side and just let this left leg slide out. Let it go where it wants to go. So if you can straighten the legs, so whether your leg's like on the floor or up in the air or whatever, see if you can push your heel out from a hip, pulling toes in towards your knee. And then both legs can straighten out, arms can come past your head. And then we're gonna bring feet onto the floor, let the low back drop down. And let's try to do a little shoulder here. So arms overhead, I'm gonna do, oh no, that feels wrong. All right, never mind. All right, so just hands past the top of your head, whether arms are straight or elbows are bent. We're gonna drop the low back down, and we're gonna bring the hips up so we can put some pressure under the shoulders. And we're gonna try to shift from side to side. So letting your hips shift over to your right, it's gonna put a little more pressure onto your right shoulder blade. And then coming over to the left, it's gonna put some pressure on your left shoulder blade, but you can kind of wiggle around in here. Try to get a sense of working out some tightness in the shoulders. Right shoulder's very cranky today, so we're just gonna kind of hang out with a little bit of pressure on that right shoulder blade. And then come on down. We're gonna let that low back drop down into the floor. And then into reclining pigeon. So bring your right ankle on top of your left thigh. So we're gonna let the legs drop over to the side because I think it's too long to hold the leg. But if you want to hold it, maybe for part of the time, you can hold the left leg with both hands. And work on letting all of that tension in the hips go. And so again, if you're holding a leg, maybe I'm gonna let mine go here. And then we're just gonna let the legs drop over to the left side. So that also helps your shoulders to release out a little tension, so you can open your arms up wide. You can bring this right arm up as high as feels nice on the shoulder. so we're gonna let this side go. You can just slide the leg out. And again, any which way you feel like you need your legs to go, where you want your arms to be. Body feels better now. Okay, let's take it to the... It's like when you get to that point where like things just feel like better, calmer, and then like you just don't want to move. All right, so let's do the other side. I'm gonna bring left ankle on top of right thigh. And so again, if you want to hold this leg for a little bit, I mean, it's your choice how long you want to hold the leg or not hold it at all. And again, let that tension release out. And then we let the side go. Finding what feels right here. We'll stretch overhead. All right, and Shavasana. So finding a spot where you're comfortable. And imagine yourself open to receiving all of the answers that you need. Feel open to receiving what you need. Take a deep breath. Notice how you are. There could be any little wiggling, moving that you like. You can move fingers, toes. You can move your wrists and your ankles. If you're coming up to seated, you might choose to bend your knees and roll to your side first. And then coming up to seated. Let's just do a little shoulder. We're going to squeeze shoulders up towards the ears. We're going to take elbows behind us and up towards the ceiling. Give that a little squeeze and then let your shoulders slowly come on down. And take a breath. And so wherever your hands feel comfortable, on the legs or at the heart, one more big full breath. Thank you for sharing in this practice today. Namaste.